Disability discussion with Chuck McIntyre. So, there's pointing, there's symbol gestures, sharing notes, there's texting and other things. Sign language, if you know some. Blindness. Blindness is defined as lack of sight. It's very rare for people to be completely blind. There's different types of blindness. There's glaucoma. Does anyone have glaucoma? Do you have glaucoma? No. It is tunnel vision, but you could probably explain it better. In fact, here, do you want me to?
So glaucoma is where you can barely see on your left eye. I am 70% blind in my left eye.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like tunnel vision. You can see through. You can see through like a little tiny hole at the beginning of your sight. There's also diabetic, and if I can pronounce this word, retinopathy. Retinopathy, right? Okay. That is when you have vision spots, little blind spots all over dotted throughout your eye. Cataracts, a lot of older people get cataracts. It makes your vision blurry. It's just a growth that forms over your eye. I don't know why. And very rarely is complete blindness. Physical, we have paraplegics, which means you aren't able to use part of your body. Often the example is people who can't use their legs, use a wheelchair. But there's also quadriplegic, which means you can't use any of your limbs due to nerve damage. Amputees, that means you had a limb amputated, sometimes due to cancer or other things. And muscular dystrophy is when your muscles deteriorate beyond your control. People are often born with it. And there's chronic illnesses like cancer, multiple sclerosis, and diabetes, which we talked about a few times. I'm sorry. There's also doors, or little people, I'm not sure which one is more politically correct, so forgive me. But when a world is set up by taller folks, getting around can be a hassle for them, and reaching this tabletop could be tricky or stuff like that. Okay, treat disabled parents with respect. Here is a mom or dad and has a disability. Alice, raise your hand. You have glasses, and your mom. Yeah. Yeah, so at least 3 people here are both a parent and a disabled person. All right, we're going to move on. But what is disability? What that seems to be invisible or undiagnosed. ADHD, for example, is less common diagnosed in women, or it's underdiagnosed in women, which you might be able to testify. What's your name?
Rebecca.
Rebecca can testify. Yeah, you have ADHD. So is autism, and what?
He does too.
What's your name, sir?
David.
David does. Multiple sclerosis, which is when your neon sheath and your nerves deteriorate, and it can sometimes cause mobility issues. It can also cause different neurological issues. So you see someone use a parking space, you don't understand what their disability is, it's better to mind your own business than to intervene. And I'm going to illustrate why with this video. So if you see someone using a handicapped parking space. Oh my God! Why are you parking the handicapped parking space? There's nothing wrong with you. And all of you need to park. Thank you. Oh my God, you're so stylish! I can't believe it. Charlie, mind your own damn business, okay? Mind your own business. All right. No one asked you. Anyway, please be sensitive and know that you're not helping. We just explained this, so I'm going to move on. Yeah. Who likes seeing me in drag? There's like 2 more videos of that. Okay, we have neurological disorders, autism, which I am, ADHD, that I probably am, dyslexia, also probably am. There's epilepsy and Down syndrome, which is also kind of physical disability. A lot of people don't know. People with Down syndrome have heart problems. Well, there's also worse ones like dementia and what?
Osteoporosis too.
Osteoporosis. What is that?
That's a disability. That's a kind of disability which your bones break easy.
That's more of a physical disability, but thank you. And there's Alzheimer's, which very similar to dementia. There's a lot of overlap, and there's also childhood Alzheimer's and childhood dementia, which is all the more tragic. We're gonna skip this one for now. It's a very funny video, though. There's mental illnesses like depression, anxiety disorder, which I have both. We just discussed. Bipolar disorder is when you go from being so manic you want to buy, say, all the books in the bookstore, to very depressed, where you can't even leave your bed. Schizophrenia is another one. It's like if your thoughts were so active. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I know someone who had schizophrenia, and she also had bipolar. It was my ex.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, so for bipolar and schizophrenia, I knew someone. Her mother had bipolar and schizophrenia, and she's also a very religious person. So sometimes if she had an episode of bipolar, that would mix with the schizophrenia, and she would start to believe that there were demons entering the house. She had to protect the house from the demons. The children she thought were doing demonic things, and she would tell the children, if you don't cut off these demonic things, I'm going to kick you out of the house forever. And yeah, so it'll influence people in a lot of crazy ways.
It can be hard in the family to be for a family member, particularly a parent, to be bipolar or have schizophrenia. But there are treatments. A lot of people with schizophrenia live very normal lives. That's an important thing to remember. There's medicines. From what I understand, schizophrenia is like if you have anxiety, but your anxiety has a voice inside your head of its own, and your insecurities do too. Dissociative personality disorder. Anyone know someone with that? I thought we'd get lucky again. Dissociative personality disorder.
I haven't been diagnosed, but I do struggle with dissociation on a daily basis, yes.
Well, we're talking about, thank you, Hannah, but we're talking about the dissociative personality disorder is like what's sometimes called split personality. It's when you switch, there's many different sides of our personality, yes? There's the angry, there's the happy, the cheerful, there is the sad, there is the hostile. And there's different, anyway, it's when you dissociate so hard that your other side of your personality takes on a life of its own, and you don't realize it. There's also post-traumatic stress disorder, which is a lot of sexual assault victims.
I have that,
Okay, would you like to state anything about that?
I have it. I just
That's all you want?
medication for it and stuff.
Do you want to say what medication or? Okay. Yeah. There's it's when you intensely have flashbacks of the past due to trauma. That's the T and PTSD, and you we're going to talk about a little bit more. My grandfather has PTSD. We're going to talk about him in a few more slides. There's also various addictions. There's alcoholism, and there's also heroin, and other addictions. There's also eating disorders like bulimia and anorexia, which makes you want to eat less. One makes you want to eat less. The other one, the Americans with Disability Act, which we'll discuss in a moment, and the ID Act, which we'll also still discuss in a moment. Modern disability history and issues. Fought to preserve Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act. People with disabilities were discriminated in 2020 during the pandemic, which is incredibly horrid. Notes from an essay my grandfather Larry Colvin wrote. This is his story. He fought during the Vietnam War. His disability affects him on a basis. He has PTSD, which we just explained, from the war trauma. He can see things that happened 50 years ago. That's kind of what PTSD means. He's an unsung war hero, which we won't get into, but he lost a lot of his hearing and smell from the war. He has depression, which a lot of people with depression take pills for. I certainly do. And he has diabetes due to Agent Orange, which is chemical warfare, for those who don't know. And he lost his balance due to loud guns, and he's very disabled. I forget exactly the percentile, but anyway, we're going to move on from there.
I have a question.
Yes.
Before you went to the war, like.
Hold on. We're going to escape so it doesn't move forward on us. Ask your question, please.
Before he went into the war, did he have any disabilities, or he got all those disabilities after the war?
I don't know. Yeah, that's a great question. I appreciate that question. I didn't ask him. You have to understand, I'm 32, and that was 50 years ago. Yeah, but I mean, he might have became diabetic, but like he went into the war when he was either in his late teens or early 20s. I don't know. We're gonna skip around a little bit. Ableism, does anyone know what ableism means? No? It's like racism, except it's discrimination and contempt or bigotry towards disabled people. We're going to skip down a few. Who here has heard of neo-Nazis? Neo-Nazis, people who decided to be Nazis even though we kicked the Nazis' ass back in World War II. Don't you hate them? I do. Yeah, they're disgusting, cowardly, lack critical thinking skills too. Now this is a very sad one. Many disabled people are killed by their family members, and often they are uncharged or get minimum sentences. There is a day of mourning that the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network does every year. You can check that out on their website. Hundreds of people with disabilities. It's called Filicide. Working below minimum wage. Anyone like to keep their hard-earned money? Work hard. You get money for it.
I do.
Yeah, everyone does. Everyone does. Absolutely. $15.50, I believe, is minimum wage right now, or 15. Okay, is minimum wage. But people who work for certain companies and are disabled will get I don't know, $1 of that. And that's extortion, but it's legal in Massachusetts somehow. It's hard to find jobs anyway. Everyone ever had the hassle of writing their resume? Is it difficult because it's hard to think sometimes?
Yeah, you're in the focus.
I have a 4-page resume. That's just because I've done a lot of things.
Oh, wow, that's more than mine.
Yeah, but no one cares because they only want to see that first page. I don't know how to trim it down to 1 page. It's hard to put my success in a small box like that. And also, we're going to talk about recruiting a little bit later. But people with disabilities, anyone hate those 100 question job applications you have to fill out? Yeah? Shake your hands in the air if you do. Yeah? Anyone else hate that jobs like working at certain places require cover letters for minimum wage? A little unreasonable? Yeah? Mental hospitalization. A lot of people with disabilities are put into mental rehabilitation clinics, sort of as a way to like get them out of public society, get them out of their family homes, because they're seen as burdens.
With your insurance company,
You want the shredding company?
day, what was the hour?
So this video right here, that's just another Karen video. You guys all get the punchline. The point is, do not call police on disabled people just because they're acting strange. And we have a limited amount of time. Specifically, if we're going to go on time, we have a little bit left. But this is a very important video. Anyone have any aspirations of being a cop? No? All right. Now, it's inexcusable that the young man with Down syndrome was killed. However, let me repeat that. It's very inexcusable that he was killed and the officers were not charged. They did not serve any sentence, and there's no excuse for what happened to him. I am glad that people are being trained on disability awareness, especially cops. This is not just a person with intellectual disabilities sort of thing. This is also affects deaf people. I have had a few unpleasant experiences with the cops. And I live in a very quiet town of Mattapoisett. Anyway, we're going to move on because lack of time. Okay, things you can do instead of calling the police. We're just going to read the cliff notes. Create community network of friends who can help de-escalate, not fight crime. You're not going to be vigilantes now. You're just going to de-escalate crime. Use a response platform. Contact a crisis or intervention specialist. I also have a speech impairment. That's why I talk weird sometimes. I don't pronounce certain syllables. But talk to a lawyer. Get a conflict resolution expert. Just simple things instead of calling the police, because the police can't do it all. They're not always as helpful as they should be. And you can save a life by not calling the police. These are the numbers of mental health crisis hotlines, particularly this one. If there is a crisis, if there's a mental health crisis someone's experiencing, they may, instead of calling 911 and getting the police involved, call this number, perhaps. Who here relies on disability SSI?
Me.
You do? I do. I also rely on affordable health care. I made a boo-boo. I let my affordable health care notice lapse on me, and that is how I did without therapy or my meds prescriber, which I need those meds, because it would cost $40 without insurance, $40 a copay without my Medicaid insurance. Disability pride, do we have time? No, we don't have time. We don't have time. Unfortunately, I'm very good at improvising, so okay, we're going to ask a couple of people, or maybe just one or two, who hasn't had a chance to talk yet. Steven, my man. Steven is one of my oldest and closest friends. Steven, name something you're proud of.
I'm proud of having very good friends. That's including you, Nick, Greg, Ian, and Jack.
Thank you. One more.
Hey everyone, my name is DJ Cupid T, and I am a professional DJ.
That takes talent. Both making friends and being a DJ takes talent. I wish I could have hired you for advertisement. Disabled success. These are all famous disabled people. Who knows who Franklin Delano Roosevelt is, huh? The New Deal. He had polio. Frida Kahlo, Harriet Tubman had epilepsy due to brain damage. There's small success. Every disabled person has some sort of success. Every person has some sort of success. Success is not a straight line. And the disability community, as a whole is very successful. Recruitment and hiring, actually reach out to people with disabilities. Accommodations, especially those that are covered by the Americans with Disability Act. And training, which is also an accommodation, and education, training your employees as well as the disabled employee and as well as managers getting trained. Open communication, simple, very simple things that can. Who here lives independently or semi-independently with disability?
I play my room by myself.
You live with 3 other roommates
No, I play my room.
in your room, I saw that.
Independently, I will tell you, the word independence is a conundrum because no one. Who here got here by transportation, particularly public transportation or any kind of transportation? Well, a little spoiler for you, a little perspective. All those require someone else's help. Who has a roof over their heads? Everyone? Yeah, I would hope so. That also required builders, etc. Who here lives by themselves in the woods?
In the woods?
Nobody, right?
No.
If you don't live off the grid all by yourself, you rely on someone else, therefore you're not fully independent, but you can be somewhat independent. And independent, this is sort of a spectrum. I live in public housing. Some people live in group homes, but that doesn't make them less independent. Hi. You live in a group home?
Yes.
Do you like it?
Yes, I do.
That's great.
Hey, I like my room. I like my big room.
You like your big room?
Yes.
Yeah, always have a microphone.
I don't know.
ADA is, we're a little bit over time. Who here feels like staying a little bit longer? We started late. ADA is employment. You can't be discriminated against for having a disability. You can't be turned away for having a disability by a state or government official. Public accommodations, things like public bathrooms and public transportation. Telecommunications, that's texting for people who are deaf or hard of hearing. And there's various others miscellaneous. Free education for all people with disabilities. Schools make special plans or IEPs for people with disabilities, young students with disabilities. Parents have a big role. They have a big say in how their child's education goes. And then also there's help for babies or toddlers with disabilities, like people in preschool and whatnot. How to self-advocate. Who here knows what I've been doing for the past hour? We just said it.
Self-advocating.
Yeah, that's right, that's right. Who here sticks up for themselves? Make some noise saying, I'm not going to let anyone take advantage of me. I'm beautiful.
I'm beautiful.
I'm proud. That's right. That's right. I have a voice. That's right.
I want you to use the microphone.
You want to use the microphone, but he's
I'm sorry, we only have a few more minutes. We can't. Self-diagnosis, we're going to skip that's on a Karen video. Lawsuit, we don't have time for, but you can talk to a lawyer better about lawsuits.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
This is the last one, being an ally to disabled people. Who here is an ally to disabled people or tries to be? All right, allies to disabled people, make some noise. Yeah. That's right. Who here has helped disabled people? In what way? Someone shout an example.
The teacher.
We-
The teacher.
I work with them, I work with people who have disabilities.
That's great. That's great. Do you ever help get them a job or help them with employment or?
Yeah. We take them to work and.
That's great. Finally, I'm going to leave you with this slide because we're really out of time. You guys have been so great. You've been a wonderful audience. I thank each and every one of you. You've been beautiful. Give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you very much. I'm so glad we got 20-some people. Sean was very skeptical. He thought we'd have 5. I'm just joking, Sean.
You did a good job. Thank you for having us.
Oh, yes, my pleasure. Thank you for coming. Any friends? Steven is a friend of mine. So, anyway. Bruce, my friend, what do you have to say?
Microphone.
It's right in front of you. It's right here on your hand.
I got 2 jobs.
He got 2 jobs.
That is incredible. Congratulations, Bruce, on your 2 jobs. Well,
I was in a chase company, $60 a day.
He works at a shredding company, $60 a day.
Yes.
Yes, and how long have you been there?
10 years.
10 years, yes.
I get a bonus
You get a bonus, lucky you.
for the year. I get cash.
Yeah, you get cash, all right.
All 5.
Good job.
that's
All
incredible.
5.
Also, I was in that job, the building.
He works at another job at our building, Livestream.
Yeah, 175 every 2 weeks.
Oh,
Thank you.
Check you out.
Thank you, Bruce.
I was a job to be a firefighter.
You want to be a job firefighter, but he's in front of you and he wants the microphone because he's finishing up.
I
okay?
appreciate.
How do you get a job in the police office?
How do you get a job? Well, he doesn't know that. You got to ask a police officer how to become a cop, okay?
How?
He doesn't know. He's finishing up. So can you please hand
Sorry.
over? No, you're okay. Thank you for sharing. your
So,
story.
one thing I want to say before we go, it's not easy to put your life in little bite-sized bits, but Bruce did a great job. He He was very kind when he gave me back the mic. No one should have to do that, but like, you know, we only have so much time. And thank you all again for coming. This has been my disability presentation, October 2024. Judine, did I mispronounce your middle name? Krazak. You tell her because she's crazy, that's why they call her Krazak.
Chuck asked me to remind him to mention that we have restarted our Dream Club, a club that focuses on disability rights and empowerment, advocacy, and mentoring. So we are in the process of finding times that work for students and community members and faculty and staff who would like to join. So please let us know, let Chuck know, let Melissa Rogers know in the Multicultural Student Center, or me legally in Access and Disability Services.
Thank you.
Thank you.